The year is 1345. In the heart of Castile, under the gilded ceilings of King Alfonso's court, a lone astronomer named Ibn Al-Qadib traced the heavens. His astrolabe, a marvel of brass and intricate engravings, felt cold in his hands, a stark contrast to the sweat beading on his brow. For weeks, he had tracked a disturbing alignment, a triple conjunction of Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars in the house of Aquarius. This wasn't just a celestial dance. His calculations, inherited from the great minds of Baghdad and Alexandria, screamed of a coming cataclysm, a pestilence, a great dying, born on the winds. He brought his findings to the king's council, his charts spread across the polished oak table. He spoke of corrupted air, of an imbalance in the cosmos that would soon be mirrored on Earth. But the councilmen, robed in velvet and suspicion, saw not science, but sorcery. Amor, dabbling in forbidden arts, whispering of doom. They scoffed, calling his predictions the ravings of a heretic. The archbishop declared it blasphemy to suggest God's plan could be read in the stars by a non-believer. Ibn al-Qadib was silenced, his warnings dismissed as the grumblings of a court infidel. He retreated to his sanctuary, the great library of Toledo, a treasure trove where knowledge from a dozen cultures lived in harmony on parchment and vellum. 3 years passed. The stars held their course, and the court forgot the Moor's strange prophecy. Then, in the spring of 1348, the whispers started, not from the stars, but from the docks. A Genoese trading ship, its crew skeletal and spectral, had brought more than silks and spices. It brought death, a strange sickness, swift and merciless, that painted the skin with dark, ominous blotches. The Black Death had arrived in Spain. Panic erupted like a wildfire. What had been a bustling city became a ghost town overnight, its silence broken only by the rumble of death carts and the wails of the grieving. The court physicians were powerless. Their prayers and potions were useless against the invisible tide of death. In their fear, the people and the clergy needed a scapegoat. Their eyes turned to the library, that repository of foreign and heretical knowledge. The whispers grew into a roar. It was the strange books, the arcane symbols, the Moorish astronomers' unholy science that had angered God and unleashed this plague upon them. The archbishop, seeing an opportunity to consolidate power, fanned the flames of their terror. He declared that all knowledge not sanctioned by the church was a source of the pestilence and must be purged by fire. Ibn al-Qadib watched in horror as the city he loved descended into madness. The library, the work of generations of scholars, Christian, Jewish, and Muslim alike, was to be the funeral pyre for reason itself. He couldn't let it happen. Within those walls were not just astronomical charts, but priceless medical texts from Galen, Hippocrates, and Ibn Sina. Knowledge that might, just might, hold a clue to fighting this or future plagues. He was not alone in his despair. He found an unlikely ally in a Jewish translator named Samuel ben Judah, whose family had worked alongside his for decades, translating Greek philosophy into Arabic and Arabic science into Latin. Samuel understood that burning books was only the beginning. Their cause seemed hopeless. Two scholars against a tide of superstitious frenzy. But their quiet desperation attracted another soul, a knight of the court named Rodrigo. Rodrigo was a man of action, not books, but he owed his life to a physician who had used a translated Arabic text to treat a wound that should have killed him. He believed in tangible results, not fanatical sermons. He saw the madness for what it was and pledged his sword to their cause. Their plan was desperate. Smuggle the most vital manuscripts out of the city through an old, forgotten network of tunnels beneath the palace. They worked by candlelight, their shadows dancing like ghosts among the towering shelves. Their hands, stained with ink, carefully packed leather satchels with the most precious scrolls and codices. Ibn al-Qadib chose the astronomical tables and the medical encyclopedias. Samuel secured the philosophical treatises and historical records. Rodrigo stood guard, his hand never far from the hilt of his sword, his ears tuned to the growing roar of the mob outside. The sound of splintering would echo through the grand hall. The main gates of the palace had been breached. The crowd, a sea of torches and pitchforks, was flooding the courtyards. Their chant was a single, terrifying word: burn. Rodrigo turned to them, his face grim. Go now? I will buy you time. He drew his great sword. its polished steel gleaming in the flickering lamplight. It was a hopelessly brave, perhaps final, gesture. Ibn al-Qadib and Samuel didn't hesitate. They heaved open a hidden door concealed behind a tapestry, revealing a dark, descending staircase. The air that rose from it was stale and smelled of earth and ages past. As they scrambled into the narrow passage, the roar of the mob grew deafening. They could hear Rodrigo's defiant shout, followed by the sickening crunch of steel meeting the library's heavy oak doors. They plunged into the darkness, the weight of 1,000 years of knowledge on their shoulders. Behind them, a groaning, grinding sound filled the tunnel. The ancient mechanism for the secret door, strained by years of disuse, was giving way. With a final, thunderous crash, the stone passage collapsed behind them, sealing Rodrigo's fate and their own. They were plunged into absolute, suffocating blackness, trapped deep beneath the burning city with only the ghosts of scholars for company and the priceless scrolls as their only light. What will become of them in the darkness below? Find out in the next episode. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, please hit that like button, share this story with a friend, and subscribe for more tales from the crossroads of history. We'll see you next time.